Welcome to Seat Time, everybody, the off-road show that brings you all the results, news, and online shenanigans that make being online a good time. We'd like to say thank you to Fly Racing for their support of Seat Time. Please go check them out at flyracing.com. Welcome to Seat Time, everybody. Brian Pierce here. So, another fine evening in southern Texas. Well, I guess we're in northern Texas, but we're in the southern parts of the state, so we'll make that work. There's been a lot of crazy weather again. It seems like I've said a lot about the weather recently when it comes to Texas, but it has been really crazy. Strangely enough, we actually didn't get the brunt force of it, if you will, because just north of us, like in Wichita Falls and things like that, Amarillo, in Oklahoma, Arkansas, they got a whole nother storm, ice storm and snowstorm, and we just got cold weather. It was brutal. It sucked. It was no fun for anybody. We would have rather had snow so that way the kids could have gone out and played with it. I think that would have been interesting. We did have a local race, another Toro that happened this past weekend. A lot of fun there. I didn't race because that was stupid. It was way too cold. It was raining. And as we've said before, I have baby little vagina hands, and that just would have sucked for everybody. Nobody enjoys that kind of a miserable time. So for those who have no idea why I'm talking about baby vagina hands, this is Seat Time. We welcome you to the online show for the off-road enthusiast. This is the beer-drinking, bench racing show where we just sit down and talk to all the fun people that make our industry what it is, be it they're the very serious ones or they're the ones that like to have just as much of a good time as we do. Hopefully they like to have a good time like we do. So Seat Time, you can find us on our website, seattime.co. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, and all those fun places. The cool thing, though, is we don't just always go live. As well, these shows are archived. So if you're catching us for the first time and you're like, man, this live stuff is interesting, you know, maybe the feed's not working that great for you. Maybe you can't watch everything, but you want to catch up. Or maybe you'd rather listen to it while you commute to work or while you're at work. It's easy to do, so you can subscribe to us on YouTube. That way you can catch the videos, or on Stitcher or iTunes, you can just catch the audio feed. So, of course, that's a great way to do that. We could not be doing this without our great partners like Fly Racing, which I actually have a new ad that I haven't yet mounted on the new wall. So definitely cool that those guys sent us some new swag. We're going to be doing the Pintful of Awesome Award a little bit later in the evening, probably after we get done with Mr. Johnny Campbell, our first guest of the evening. And then, of course, Ride PG. Big thanks to those guys for being on board. So you can check them out, flyracing.com and ridepg.com. Thanks to those guys for their support of Seat Time. Of course, seattime.bigcartel.com is a great place to go pick up swag. Please help support us. It is not free to do this. For those of you that think it doesn't cost money, it does. So it would be fantastic for you guys to pick up some koozies, pint glasses, and T-shirts and just keep this thing going. Now that the house cleaning is out of the way, I want to get to our first guest because this is a man I've been wanting to talk to on this show for a very, very long time, Mr. Johnny Campbell of Johnny Campbell Racing. So, dude, how is your evening going, kind sir?
Oh, Brian, so thanks so much for having me on the show tonight. You know, it's I'm really stoked to get the invitation, and you caught me at a good time, I guess. I've been flying. Came out here to Florida, actually, to do some testing with our new GNCC racer, Chris Bach.
Yeah, I know, man. So that's some crazy news, and we could dive right into that, and we could talk about all kinds of fun stuff. But I wanted to try to do something a little bit different because I know you've been on other shows and you've talked about the new news and stuff like that, but you haven't done it in complete Seat Time fashion. So I figured we could just jump right into something really interesting, and I wanted to know, what is your most embarrassing racing moment ever?
Well, I guess, you know, I'd like to think it is... in 1994, at the Nevada Rally, you know, they had helicopters and filming us and stuff, and I was new to rally racing and navigation, and you know, basically a savvy Frenchman who was leading the race, he tricked me. I ended up passing him, going by him, going, oh, okay, I'm leading the race now, but I wasn't really navigating real hard. I was following him more. And so I went and got lost. He turned around and went back and found the trail and went the right way. So,
gotcha.
I mean, that was, you know, that was a huge lesson in my racing career that I never made that mistake again.
Yeah. So what you're saying is when I do the Baja Rally later this year, I should definitely watch out for tricky Frenchmen?
Well, I don't know if you want to watch out for tricky or even
Oh man, we're working on a signal. See what happens here. You there?
Yeah, I'm here, Brian.
Okay, cool. Yeah, sorry, we kind of
Yeah,
went
I'm
in.
back.
It went in and out a little bit on us, so we didn't know exactly what was going on. I don't know if there's gonna be a tricky Frenchman per se, but there's guys like Chili White. He may be coming back. I hear he's a tricky, slippery guy. And then of course Andy Griner will be there. So there's gonna be some guys to watch out for. I think so. There at the Baja Rally. I don't know. It could get kind of interesting. Oh man! So of course, as for those of you who don't know, right now my wife is actually the one behind the boards running the show, and I don't blame her at all. This is just one of those situations where sometimes people are in places where their signal's not as good as we would like it to be. So hey, we're gonna make it happen. But she's gonna call Johnny Campbell back, and we're gonna get him going. So definitely give a big shout out to Steven. He has to be with his daughter this evening. They had to go to the hospital. And obviously things like that come up, so we just go ahead and say, you know what? Tam's done this before. She may not be proficient at it, but she's pushed buttons and she's made stuff happen. So we're just going to see what's going to happen and how it goes. I'm not too sure. But hey, so it's interesting because I was really looking forward to seeing if somehow Johnny Campbell was going to tell us that he actually was like embarrassed because maybe he forgot like a chamois butter or something one time and had like really bad chafing. That's what I was thinking might be weird, but could kind of be fun. I hear ringing, so that's a start. We'll see what happens. Skype ringing. Skype ringing. Hey, dude, you there? Not really? Anything? Hello, Mr. Campbell. Oh, man.
Oh, I'm back. Are you?
Yeah, we're here. But we're not going anywhere. This is where we're at Tuesdays. Your feet.
I can't figure out.
Your feet
can't
look
figure
awesome.
out if I do the camera right. now I'm looking at myself.
That's perfect. That's all you need to do. We got your audio, so hopefully that's good enough. We'll go with that. So, it's interesting that you said 1994. I was really expecting some kind of like, you forgot your chamois butter and you chafed really bad or something like a really bad desert race.
No, being humiliated on national television was bad enough.
Yeah, I can understand that. Those crazy Frenchmen. Well, there was another thing that I thought was interesting. Lately on the Pulp MX show, they've been doing a lot of reminiscing for some strange reason about about the 90s motocross and all the crazy stuff that they did there. And I was wondering if you had any crazy stories from when you first started racing off-road that you maybe shouldn't tell us, but you're going to do that anyway because why not?
Yeah, why not? This is seat time, and there's crazy off-road guys like myself and a bunch of beer-drinking guys that are watching the show, so why not?
Bring it.
I'm down.
So I think it was Jeff Fredette was on, and he was talking about his box van, and he was like, so how many chicks have you brought into your box van? And he was like, 30 or 40. And they were like, no way. And they were like, oh, no, just the box van. So just the box van. So is that like only a moto thing, or is there any way that somebody could say that like off-road dudes, could pick up chicks?
Well, I'm sure there's our fair share of off-road guys that can pick girls up, but I've been married for 20 years and been tried and true to my wife, Faye. So
hey, that's what I'm talking about. I'm married as well, and we've got kids and stuff, and I feel the same way. Just because I go out and rail ruts, I don't nail sluts, right?
There you go.
It's not really how the T-shirt goes, but we'll go that way anyway, right? That's fun with it. So there has been a bunch of big news with JCR, with yourself recently. Big stuff. Obviously, the press releases came out in an interesting fashion where it was released that you guys were pulling out of Baja. And then a little bit later during the day, it came out that you guys were going to be GNCC racing. So was that a strategy that you guys had? Like you decided to release those press releases separate like that? Or did it that's kind of just the way the news came out?
No, that was strategic, based on what American Honda wanted to do with our team and their strategy. So I just followed their guidelines and their prompting, and so I think it kind of left a little bit of a cliffhanger there for a bit, and everybody's like, "Oh no, what's going to happen to Johnny? What's going to happen to his team? What are they going to do?" And it didn't take long, and then we put it back out there. So we ran a little bit of strategy of getting everybody to look at us and some attention and whatnot. So I think it worked.
Yeah, no, it was interesting because Dale Spangler from Fly forwarded me the email of the press release before I even got the press release from you guys being released. I was like, Jesus, Dale, how did you do that? And he's like, I'm on the specials list. But still, we were like, oh my gosh, what's happening? And of course, he knew behind the scenes that you guys were going to be releasing the other press release later in the day. But he kept pushing me. So I'm like, oh my gosh, what do you think they're going to be doing? And he's like, I don't know. And he sent me down this rabbit hole for 2 hours, and then the other press release comes out. And I was like, damn it, Dale, you could have told me the whole time. So
that's my boy Dale. Thanks, dude.
Yeah, it's great, dude. I love being associated with Fly. So those guys over there are so awesome. He is definitely a huge supporter and a big beer drinker of Seat Time. So we really appreciate that. So this is a question that I kind of hate to ask, but I feel like it's just kind of like to just ask it and to say, was there any part of JCR and Honda pulling out of Baja because of the death of Kurt Caselli?
No, that was definitely not part of our strategy. I think, on a personal note, I feel like I've been down there. I have been down there for over 25 years racing, and
yes.
over 20 years racing with American Honda. I accomplished my goals as a racer, becoming the winningest Baja 1000 racer, and then taking the team over in the last 6 years, having a nearly flawless record of wins. And, for me, I don't really have anything else to prove down in Baja. I really enjoy Baja. It's my livelihood. But I'm also looking for new challenges and new goals. And, I don't just want to do Baja. I don't want to just get stuck there. And I want to see what else is out there, personally for my personal goals. So we're going to go tackle GNCC, which was a great strategy move by American Honda as well, because they see a market that is growing and needs some attention. So why not send Johnny out there with his riders and mechanics and his whole group, and let's go take some of that market share back.
Yeah, for sure. And I think back with the Geico team that Honda had there for a while, that unfortunately obviously kind of isn't there right now, but you guys are bringing it back. We've seen Thad Duvall throughout the past couple years have some really good results on a Honda. Do you know, I know that he didn't have full factory support or anything like that from Japan Honda, but do you know if any of that success that he's had on a Honda maybe kind of put a little bit of fire in their step to kind of get a full team back out there again?
Yeah, I think guys like that who've had some dealer support and some backdoor support have definitely helped that. I just think that Honda in a whole seen a growing sector that they need to be a part of in a bigger way, and like having guys like that and sending our team out there, and even Takeshi Koketa, there's going to be a good share of Honda guys that are going to be in the top 10 there this year, and hopefully we'll nab some wins.
Oh, I think you will. It's one of those situations where I've always thought that if Bach gets some really good support, that he could really, really have some great results. And we've obviously seen really good to great results from him, but that win is very elusive. And I think it's going to be something that he's easily going to be able to do, not just with factory support, but with guidance from someone like yourself, and then with a team backing of what you've created throughout the years, because you know how to race and you know how to run and manage a team. But saying that, now that you've done so much desert racing and you're going to be going, kind of GNCC racing, a different format completely, what are some of the big, I don't really know if I want to use the word pitfalls, but big, eye-opening experiences that you think you're going to have on how hard it's going to be to run a team versus how well you've run one in desert racing?
Well, certainly, you've come across some good points there, Brian. Yeah, we're experts and professionals at desert racing and long-distance endurance racing, and I don't have a huge experience on the East Coast in the woods racing, but I do have a lot of racing experience.
Yeah.
So I'm planning on taking a lot of that I've learned throughout my years of racing and coordinating and logistics and coaching, and taking that and putting it into a different atmosphere, a different environment. And I think we can learn it. It's going to take some acclimation for sure. We got, different atmosphere, different weather, different length of races. You got a lot of trees, a lot of mud, and you're going to have different weather. So all these things are elements that, we've encountered throughout our years of racing. But it's just, I'm excited just to be able to, take my experience and go invest it into some other area in off-road racing.
Yeah, that's the one thing that no one could deny, is that you are, one, a fantastic racer, and two, a fantastic team manager. You've proven that, and I think it's going to be very, very cool to see for you to take that type of management of a team on the West Coast in desert racing, but learn how to adapt that very well, I would assume, to East Coast, kind of the GNCC style of racing, more of the hare scramble / cross-country type format, where you do have a lot of elements that you and your teammates, being desert racers, haven't really come across before. How much are you guys relying on Bach in that sense? How much do you guys go back and forth discussing those things, telling him this is what we've worked well with in the past, but will something of that accord work well in GNCC racing? So I wanted to know how well you guys have used him as an asset since he's been on the East for so long.
Certainly, I think you've brought up another good point, is that, Chris is very well experienced. He's grown up racing these style of races. He's done very well as a privateer in running his own effort. Now the things he was lacking was having that good backing, the good support from a factory, having parts and pieces available to him. So I'm talking to Chris almost daily on getting set up, and so we can come out of the gate the best we can be, without myself having absolute experience like I do in Mexico. I haven't been to a lot of these places we're going, and so this year is going to be a learning year for us. But with Chris's experience, and he's willing to learn from me, and I'm willing to learn from him, I think it'll be a good team and a good partnership.
Cool. Well, yeah, no, I'm super stoked to see it, and I know a lot of other people are too. I think we're seeing, and I talked to Shane Watts last week about this a little bit, and I kind of wanted to see, now that you're starting to put a little bit of your foot in the GNCC water, in the off-road racing, if you will, on the East Coast, it seems like there's a little bit more money coming into the sport. Now, Shane Watts seemed to think, and I don't totally disagree, that it's maybe a little bit better allocation of money in the off-road racing sport. So I wanted to know, with you guys being there and Honda putting in support and stuff like that, it seems like we're seeing more smaller teams kind of come about. How do you see that, like financially, kind of the East Coast funding of off-road racing?
Well, I think any series, when the manufacturers are there and supporting it, that's where people are going to go to race. They're going to go there to promote their products. And so, for sure, with our name and reputation in racing in general, going to join a very well-known and a very high-profile off-road series, people are going to see that, they're going to follow that, and it's going to drive money into that part of the industry.
Yeah. Okay, I want to hear it from you. I know that Chris Bach is a great racer, but I want to hear it from you. Why Chris Bach over somebody like Thad Duvall? Or why Chris Bach, period? It doesn't have to be a if, and, or but.
Well, I mean, coming into this when I did kind of late in the season for being able to select riders and pick and choose, there was only a selected few that didn't have rides for one, but I had Chris come out to the West. I was put in touch with him through a few different contacts, and I talked to him on the phone. We emailed, and I said, "Man, this kid's got it going on. He's very well organized. He speaks very mature. I think I might be able to work with this guy." And so I had him come out to the West. We went riding and did some testing, and that's where I felt like this was the way. This is the way we need to go, and he's going to help us. I'm going to help him, and it's going to be a good partnership.
Cool. Yeah. No, I think it's going to be cool. I wonder, he's been third the past 2 years in a row in the XC1 class, and this year, complete privateer effort, did a great job. I've wondered if why people hadn't, kind of like reached out to him before, if it was just like an interesting contract season and there's nothing really was open or anything like that. But I've heard rumors that he kind of might have been a little bit hard to deal with earlier in his career, and that a lot of that has turned around. And it kind of reminds me, if any of that's true, it reminds me a little bit of like the Weston Pike thing. You see Weston Pike doing so great right now on a privateer effort in Supercross, and a lot of people, they say, don't want to touch him because in the past he used to be really hard to work with and was kind of explosive and stuff like that. So regardless, I'm excited for Chris Bach. I think this is going to be something that will completely not change his program around, because he's obviously been doing a really good job putting a program together, but raise his program to the next level. And I definitely think we're going to see much more top fives out of this guy like we've been seeing, possibly a lot more top threes. And I would love for him to get that number one on the podium. I think that would be super, super cool. So for you, what are your expectations on rider and on bike and on equipment for the 2014 season?
Yeah, our expectations result-wise is, to be consistent. I want to be consistently on the box and up front. It's the same thing what we did with Colton Haaker last year in the Endurocross. We had a kid that was hyper talented, but you didn't really have a program around him, and so he was really inconsistent. And we were able to bring Colton into having top fives almost every round and being almost the fastest racer. Where Chris actually is very consistent even without us, and knows how to keep equipment fresh and not break it. And so I think what we're going to have to what I want to do is shoot for those podium boxes and be there in the end. Look at the big picture. I want to be on the box in the championship.
Cool. Well, that's good to hear. We did have a question from our buddy Zach Huberty. He helps run, he owns and runs innovationoffroad.com. He's really helping us out a lot, and he's going to start bringing in a lot more questions to the show, so that we can kind of tell people, hey, this guy's got a lot of cool stuff going over at Innovation Off-Road. Go check it out. This is kind of the way he wants to look at things a lot more technically. And one interesting question he had was if there's any chance of a national enduro team in the near future, or maybe even maybe in the further future.
It really hasn't been discussed to do anything outside of GNCC. I think we need to definitely get our feet wet here and start building our program around that before we investigate looking and branching out into like enduros and stuff. And it really depends on the direction and strategy of American Honda and what they want to accomplish. So
right.
That it's a good point. I like the National Enduro Series. I feel like it's a strong series. They're very fun to ride and compete. But I think as far as this year or next year, it's hard to say.
Right. Well, if there's one you want to come to, I'm going to tell you now. Definitely Concho Enduro. Is here in Texas, in Blackwell, Texas. I'm going to be racing it. My buddy Zach Huberty, who we were just talking about, is going to be racing it. We signed up for row 23 because why not? If we don't ride like the pros, but we want to. So hey, might as well just get up in there with them. So I think you should come to Texas. You can stay at my house. We'll let my wife sleep on the couch with the new baby. You and I can share a bed, so I can try to usurp some of your awesome dirt bike knowledge while you sleep. Not in a scary way like a Ouija board or anything, but, whatever. Figure it out. And I think you'd have a good race. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So just think about it. We'll talk offline after the show about it. But, yeah. So why we need to see you out there racing. Shane Watts said that he's probably going to wind up racing some of the GNCC races. I think that there's a great possibility for you to go out there and just show the boys what's up with the throttle in 4th or 5th gear.
I don't know if there'd be any 5th gear running out here, but it'd be fun to ride a race or two. I feel like being over 40 now, it's a little bit tough on the body, and I'm trying to keep it going and stuff. But I don't expect myself to be out here racing full time. My number one goal is to get Chris on the box, keep him consistently up there, show off what the Honda product can do, the Honda CRF 450R, and let's go win a championship.
Hell yeah. Well, I love it. That's a great way to end that. That's for sure. Well, dude, I know that you guys are big supporter. One of your big supporters is Fly Racing, which is as well for us here at Seat Time. But I'm sure that you've got a bunch of other sponsors out there that we don't know about. So who's helping this program happen for you guys this year, going GNCC racing and more Endurocross?
Well, for sure, our title is American Honda, Honda Motorcycles, Rockstar Energy, Fly Racing, and Lucas Oil's a huge supporter. Also, we want to shout out to Motion Pro, Galfer Brakes, and Dragon Goggles. They're all doing. They're going over and above this year than what they've been. So, I just want to say thank you to all those guys, and just don't hesitate to follow us on all our social media at JCR Honda. You can go to any of them, and also wanted to mention that you might want to be checking out on the Fly line later this year. There might be something really special coming out.
Uh-oh. Is it going to have your name on it?
Mm-hmm. We'll just have to wait and see. But
it's going to be your likeness, huh? Just like the President Obama pictures. It's going to be the Johnny Campbell picture. Just your face, like a good profile.
Yeah. Hopefully they do some doctoring and some fix the graphics a little bit, take away from some wrinkles and stuff.
Oh, come on, man. There's no way you can make sexy more sexy, Yeah, we like to keep it real, I mean, that's okay. I'm just going to say it. You probably don't look as good as I do because I have a mustache and you don't. But within 3 months, we can easily fix that, and then you can just totally look better than me.
Yeah, we are willing to experiment with that.
Yes! Yeah, I like it. Facial hair needs to come back. It doesn't need to be around just for Mustache May or for No Shave November or Movember or whichever charity you choose to grow for. Just grow it. That's what you should do. Well, cool. Mr. Campbell, as I would call you, Sir Campbell, we really appreciate you calling into the show tonight. I know we had a little bit of issues getting set up, but hey, once we dropped my ugly mug from your video, it seemed to go a lot smoother, so we appreciate the fact that I'm ugly and that you could put up with us.
Well, I really appreciate it, Brian. Thanks for the time, and I really enjoyed my time here at Seat Time.
Yeah, everybody loves a little bit of seat time, right?
That's right.
Yeah. All right, dude. Well, you guys have fun in Florida. Good luck testing, and we're looking for some spy photos while you guys are doing that on Instagram or something. Is that cool?
That's cool. Just don't look too hard.
Okay. It's probably gonna hurt my brain. All right, man. Take it easy. Have a good night. All right. So as we switch over really quick, I wanted to mention again one of our fantastic supporters, Fly Racing. Those guys cannot do enough for us. I've talked about it a lot, and I'll talk about it again. The windproof technical jersey is definitely something that you guys should go ahead and check out at their website. It's flyracing.com. So I've talked about it enough. You guys know it's there. Please go check it out. That is definitely the item you want to buy. But one of the things that we do want to do right now is talk about our Pintful of Awesome award. And we do have a new winner this week that we have, and it's going to be a great time to announce them. So let me find it in my notes as we bring up the fact that our new winner is Remy Martinovich 204. That's his Instagram handle, and it was Instagram. Hey, Tim, what's going on? We're announcing our Pintful of Awesome award right now. We're going to get you in a second. My wife's just crazy. She's pushing buttons back here, just getting nuts. But, so, this I did look around, and there was a really cool one on Facebook of a gentleman doing a really neat hill climb, one of the AMA national hill climbs. That was definitely a potential winner. We had a couple other guys. Cody Klein had some cool pictures. There was Veggie Hot Sun was this like super little tiny dude. I would imagine that it's his mother taking pictures of him, but super cool dude racing his little BMX bike. I thought that was awesome. But what I wanted to tell you guys is that we really appreciate you guys tagging all of your pictures, videos, and stories. That's what's neat is we're getting all that now. It's people are tagging all of that stuff with the hashtag #PintfulOfAwesome, and that gives you a chance every week to win some Fly Racing gear. And I say every week, and that's going to happen until you guys stop making it worth it for Fly to get involved with this sort of stuff. So all I can say is we had over 120 submissions this week within just a week's span. That's great for us. We really appreciate that. Fly is stoked on it as well, and they want to keep doing that kind of stuff. So it doesn't make a difference if you submitted one this past week. Submit one again. You might be the winner. Actually, it was TH Moto X as well. I wanted to say the last one that you posted about 30 minutes before we started the show, bitchin' picture. Submit some more cool stuff like that, and you're definitely going to have a good chance at winning. So Remy Martinovich 204, we're going to come hit them up a little bit later, unless Dale's watching right now and he wants to find them. It's the one where he's doing the awesome stand-up wheelie. So Fly is going to be giving him some of the Aero tapered handlebars with the Pilot 2 grips. Again, you can find out more about those products at flyracing.com. Not only do we thank them for their support of Seat Time, but as well for their support of doing fantastic awards like this, where we get to give away great products to awesome viewers like you. So we really appreciate all of your support. Okay, now the person that came on in the midst is Mr. Tim Cotter. I blame my wife completely. Tim Cotter, it's not his fault at all. My wife's just getting trigger happy over there calling people into the show, which is totally fine by me. So Mr. Tim Cotter, I have to ask, how is your evening going, kind sir?
Our evening's doing well here in West Virginia. We got some of that snow you've been talking about that went north, but all is good here in West Virginia.
Awesome. Well, that's good to hear. I have to ask, we've been talking to Jared Bolton a little bit about some of the fun stuff that you guys get to do while you're at GNCC Racing. So you've been doing this for a long time. You've been at all the Loretta Lynn's, so I'm pretty sure you've seen some crazy stuff go on. Is there any way that you could share, and this doesn't have to be Loretta Lynn specific, doesn't have to be GNCC specific, but something that just kind of, you were like, that is an embarrassing moment for that person, and I'm going to remember that for the rest of my life. We would like you to share one of those fun moments right now with us.
Yeah, I wish you'd give me some advance notice on that.
It's way better when we don't worry.
I've been fortunate enough to be involved with it about 38 years. So I go back to the Blackwater 100 days, the early days of High Point, the United States Grand Prix at Unadilla. So we've had a lot of fun. And I think the one that might stand out, or at least comes to mind, is we were at a Winter Am in Gatorback. And Bob Hanna would come out and race the Winter Ams back at Gatorback. And I can remember Hanna being there, and it was late of an evening. Ron Tishner Sr. And Stan Tipton, we call him Tip. He was the guy that found Damon Bradshaw. We were drinking pretty heavily, and Bob Hanna was having a few cocktails, and he got in his rental car, and he was leaving, and there was nobody there, and he was leaving, and back then, they used to total those cars, and Hanna took off and was heading for the gate, and he hit this pile of garbage or whatever, and it just went everywhere, and right behind the garbage was this guy passed out. Oh. And Hanna didn't hit him, but it scared the shit out of him, and I think the guy did his business in his pants, and I think Hanna also was, he probably had to do some work on his shorts as well.
Oh, I bet.
But that was probably back in 79 or 80. During the time of the Winter Ams at Gatorback.
Oh my gosh. Well, just to let you know, I was born July 30th of 1979. So that story may have been created before or right around the time that I was birthed from my mother. Bless that day. Yep. It was such a fantastic day in July.
Now I'm feeling really old.
Hey, well, yeah, I definitely don't mean to make you feel old. That's not the purpose of that. So, on to more fun stuff. Well, I would say more interesting. That kind of story is definitely fun for sure. I was super excited to see this, that the GNCC series is going to be an AMA sanctioned series again. And I say again because it was at one point in time, it wasn't for a little while, and now it is again. So there's kind of a little bit of a circle there. I wanted to know, before we kind of get into why all this came about with y'all becoming sanctioned again, if you could talk us through reasons why the GNCC series became unsanctioned for a little while. That's definitely an area I unfortunately do not have much knowledge on.
Sure, I'd be glad to address that. Let's back up 5 years ago.
Okay.
And GNCC was moving right along, and the AMA's off-road effort, they really didn't. They weren't doing anything for GNCC. We were sort of out on our own, and we didn't really need much help. So we were going along. We had good rider entries. They really never sent people to the races, and we were starting to ask about, some weekend memberships, some things like that. And 2 years ago, the AMA raised their fee from $39 to $49. And at that point in time, we had to sit back and do some real thinking as a business decision. Is it worth having AMA on board? Do they bring enough to the table? And our requests were falling on deaf ears. We just weren't getting any real assets from them that we were asking when we did need help. We couldn't get that help. And so when they went up to the $49, we keep data on all of our races, and we found that 62% of the riders that attend a GNCC only attend one time. And so we can draw from that if you said 50% of those 62% would not need an AMA card, then in fact what we were doing was saying it was a $49 tax on these riders if they weren't riding AMA activities. And we had to make some assumptions there. But it was at that time that we decided that it would be best for GNCC if we were not sanctioned by AMA. Now, that doesn't mean Racer Production didn't believe in the AMA mission. We've always believed in the AMA mission. Our Loretta Lynn program has remained AMA. It is the AMA National Championship Series, and our MX sports team was the organizers of the AMA Pro Motocross Nationals as well. So we were still very much AMA supporters, but at the time it just didn't make sense for GNCC.
Okay. No, and I think that's very viable. I think that there's a lot of, it seems that there was a lot of talk of political stuff about AMA, and I definitely speak to this in the sense that I unfortunately don't know. This is all hearsay from things that I'd heard from my father and his kinds of friends and stuff like that. I was definitely in college while most of that was going on, so obviously you can imagine that. I didn't ride dirt bikes very much. I was just going to the bar and finding ways to find a ride home to somebody else's house. But I think it's interesting. I think the AMA is really starting to see that they alienated people with a lot of decisions they were making, and you see them making a very valiant effort to realize that they depend on the riders just as much as the riders should depend on the AMA. And I'm hoping that a lot of people out there do realize that. I did see a lot of backlash, unfortunately, in the forums. I wouldn't say a lot, but I did see backlash. People are like, oh, another $50 here, that, and the other. But I think it's a lot of people that don't realize, that are not educated on what the AMA can do for you as not just as a racer, but as an enthusiast of an off-road sport. And like we could talk about land closure for an entire hour and what the AMA does politically just to keep some riding areas open. So I think that that's a huge area where people are just misinformed and don't understand the whole situation. But there's also a lot of changes for you guys in the GNCC series becoming AMA sanctioned again, in the fact that I think you guys are going to have an AMA referee there now. So to kind of talk us through a lot of the little changes that are going to happen at the GNCC races now that you guys are AMA sanctioned again.
Sure. Well, let's first talk about when we left the AMA. Our organization said, okay, how do we fill the gaps?
Right.
Because there were some things that the AMA was providing, a lot of it was behind the scenes. It may be part of registration. It was insurance. It was to make sure the releases were handled properly. And so we took all that in-house, and we did that over 2 years. And I would say for the most part, most people didn't even realize that we weren't sanctioned. But we knew that it was best for GNCC if we had a sanctioning body. We need that third-party rules-making organization that was unbiased, and I believe we did a pretty good job at GNCC to stay unbiased and to do what was best for off-road racing, not necessarily what's best for GNCC or what was best for the rider. It was what's best for competition. But I think that was one of the big things that we missed, is we needed that third party that could have those rules and make sure that we had a good, fair rule book. And so that was one of the elements that we needed to have, and we have that back, and we're thankful for that. But it was also, what kind of products are they providing for our riders? And when we sat down with them before we left the AMA, we said, look, there's a few things that we've got to have. We would like a weekend pass for those 62% of our rider base. If they wish to buy a weekend pass, they could do so. And the AMA had a hard time doing that. We asked for a youth rider membership and a family membership, and they couldn't come up with that. And now they've come up with all of that. They've met every, I don't want to say demand, but every request that we gave them, they have met and then some.
Cool.
So we now have that $20 weekend membership. So if you wish to come and race and you're not typically an AMA member, you can buy that membership or that pass for $20. And then if you like what you're doing, you can apply that $20 towards a full membership within, I think it's 90 days. So I think that's a real good thing. And then, of course, the youth membership. It's a discounted youth membership. I believe it's $28. And so that's for the younger riders. And then the family membership, we're a family sport. I hear you talk about it, and wherever we go in this sport of ours, everyone says, well, it's all about the family. And so now they've come up with a family membership. So it's like $98, I believe, and you can have 5 members on it. And, that's a real savings. That's $20 a member for up to 5. And so all those things came. They're also coming with a rider medical insurance program that they haven't fully announced yet, but it's where AMA riders will be able to purchase medical insurance to make sure that they're protected. We urge everyone to have medical insurance. If you're riding a motorcycle off-road, or if you're riding a motorcycle, period, the first thing you need to do is make sure that you're insured properly.
Yeah.
And so the AMA's coming with that as well. And yes, as you mentioned, they're going to provide a referee. We're still working on who that referee might be. They're going through training, and they're going to provide a lot of assistance. You're going to see AMA staff members at our registration line. I believe you're going to see the AMA magazine cover GNCC racing in more detail.
And it's also, that magazine is going to be dirt. They're going to have a dirt only version as well, aren't they? So they're going to kind of separate us a little bit. Not that that's a bad thing, but
yeah, it's not really. I thought it was just that, a dirt only, but I think what they're doing, it's more competition geared. The magazine's probably going to look the same, but the inside, say 15 pages or so, are going to be different. So part of the magazine is going to be the same, and then some of the features are going to be more competition oriented. And we called it Dirt Magazine, but it's really the AMA magazine with some different content in it.
Cool. Well, that's good to hear. Yeah, there's tons of new stuff that these guys are doing. That I say these guys, that the AMA is going to be doing for y'all, and that y'all are going to be doing because of what the AMA is doing for you guys. One of the things that I thought was super interesting is the Rider Foundation. I don't want to speak to it too much because honestly I'm afraid I'll kind of screw up the semantics of it because I know it's pretty precise, but it's a little bit of extra money sent back to the GNCC Series that you guys can then use to donate, in a sense, to other organizations. So that was my take on it, but you fill in the gaps for where I kind of missed the mark.
Yeah, you're pretty close, Brian. It's the AMA came with a plan, and it's not just for GNCC. Most promoters in the country can sign up for this plan, and if you buy your membership online through the GNCC threshold, what we at Racer Productions have said is any money that we get back, and it's so much a membership, I'm not sure if it's $5 or $2 or whatever it is, there's a portion of that membership that will come back to GNCC Racing. And we said at Racer Productions is that's not a profit center for us.
Right.
So we're going to take that money and we're going to pool it. And we're already working on a committee to see, to put members on this committee to decide what to do with that money. And that money could, and I don't know, nobody knows how much that's going to be. It could be $100, it could be $1,000, it could be $10,000. But that money will be in a pool for our committee to decide where it may go. It may go to help the ISDE. We may have a rider that have fallen on hard times, or we may want to spend money to try to get our preacher Team Faith to our events. It can be a number of things. But we've decided that that's what we're going to do with that money is we're going to put it in an account and then let that committee decide how to divvy it up.
Cool. Well, if for some strange reason it sits there for a while and you guys are having trouble deciding, I could.
It may go to a starving radio show.
It's just like, yeah. I mean, we can always use sponsors, or I would love to offer my services, no fee needed, to come out and help Rodney in the trailer doing a little bit of broadcasting. Obviously, we tried it once. You guys were in your infancy. I'm just saying, putting the feelers out there. I wouldn't be opposed to trying it again. Just saying. So, well, I think this is all crazy information. Great to hear that this is going the way it's going. I think it's cool, too. We were just talking with Johnny Campbell. So Johnny Campbell is coming GNCC Racing. We've got a bunch of teams. So Shane Watts is now stepping up. He's going to have 3 racers coming in. He's even going to be racing, so technically 4 racers. We're seeing a lot more little teams come up. We're even seeing Suzuki come back with Obermeyer. Obermeyer used to be Yamaha, now specifically Suzuki. They probably still sell Yamahas. He's just coming to GNCCs with Suzukis. But I think we're seeing a lot more teams come back to off-road racing, specifically GNCC at this point. I want to know what you think about this. Do you think that there's more money? Do you think it's better money allotment? What are you guys kind of attributing this to?
Well, number one, we're flattered that Johnny Campbell Racing's coming east. I just came back from California. We were out there last week and visited with some of the Honda guys, and they're awfully excited about having Johnny Campbell Racing come in GNCC. They've been waiting for that right time, and I know they've had Thad Duvall and will continue to have some of those guys, but they were waiting for the right opportunity, and I think they have it. We're hoping that Johnny Campbell will find that it's good for him on the East Coast. But we're very excited. You know, the growth of GNCC is very gratifying for all of us. We have a big group of folks at Racer Production that work very hard. And I think that we're starting to see the fruits of our labor. Racer TV, our NBC coverage or NBC sports coverage of GNCC each week, and Jason Hooper and what he does, it's starting to bear fruit. And I think you're seeing some of the OEMs starting to sell more motorcycles. I was looking at the MIC numbers. The year-end numbers just came out, and we saw growth in off-road motorcycle racing. So that's all good news, and I think they're at least putting some more effort in the off-road. I don't think it's going to be near what we've seen, back in 2005, 2006, 2007. But it's good to see him come back. We need a healthy pro row,
yes,
and we're starting to see that. And we're even starting to see a little more participation on the quad side as well. And with that in mind, Brian, I'd be remiss if we didn't say a little prayer.
Oh, please do. Yes.
McGuire, who lost his life over the weekend, and he was one of our GNCC rising stars, and it's very unfortunate when situations like that happen.
Yeah, no, it's been tough. I don't know if it's just all of a sudden people were paying much more attention to social media in that sense, or if the beginning of this year and the end of last year was just for some strange reason bad karma, bad whatever it was. Because look, we lost Kirk Caselli, another road racer was lost recently, a couple riders in Dakar or racers in Dakar, and then of course. Recently we've lost a couple just in the local off-road races, in GNCC. It seems weird, and it sucks. There's really no, unfortunately, great way to say that it's bad, because it just sucks. And so everybody remember, you got it. Like, not that he wasn't, but this can be a dangerous sport. Wear all your protective gear. Take all the precautions to keep yourself safe. Just like Tim was talking about, they're gonna have insurance now, a way for you to have insurance now with the new AMA memberships with GNCC Racing. I think stuff like that is very, very important, and it's a great way to at least try to be as safe as possible out there. That's what we want everybody to do. With the new teams and a lot of the new stuff that is coming to GNCC Racing, one of the things that I am going to try to take complete advantage of this year is KR4's Arrive and Ride program and the Dirtwise Ready to Race program. As someone who is behind the scenes in this series and then also in the front lines of the series, how do you guys feel about these programs coming about? And do you think they're doing it the right way? Would you see them making changes, or do you think they're right where they need to be?
Well, I think they're where they need to be. It's entrepreneurship, and in the KR4 situation, these guys, I know them a little better than the other one, but KR4 are truly enthusiasts, and they put this program together, and we've seen it grow over the past couple of years, and so when you have an opportunity, I can see the KR4 program really working out. They've got first-class equipment. They've got mechanics along the way. They can take care of riding gear, the whole 9 yards. And really, people that are real enthusiasts, people that really want to come racing, what an opportunity to do that, because you got to work all the time to afford your racing habit. And so when you have time to work on the bike, getting the rig set up and so forth, all those things are taken care of for you with that KR4 plan. And so, yeah, we're very excited. We certainly are in favor of it, and we'll help those types of programs any way we can. It just brings more people to the races.
Yeah, here's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to try our producer who's normally here on the show, Steven. He's a huge 4x4 guy. Used to be a big buggy guy, sand dunes and stuff like that. He's become a big 4x guy. And so what we're going to try to do is go out to, we haven't picked it yet, but maybe like Ironman, something later in the year, and rent one of their side-by-sides for racing on Saturday, or whichever event has both. Get a side-by-side for Saturday that we could do racing, and then I'm going to rent a bike through Dirtwise for Sunday racing, and get in either the industry class or one of the B classes, because I know if I went to a GNCC, I would not be an A racer in those situations. I'm okay. I'm a vet rider now. I can accept it. But something like that would be absolutely phenomenal. I would be so excited to be able to come out and spend a little bit of money, fly out there, race a side-by-side on Saturday, and then race a dirt bike on Sunday, and then fly home. That would be pretty bitchin'.
It's like being a factory rider for a weekend.
Except I suck. As long as they don't ask for results and they only ask for cash money, then we're probably going to be we'll have a good relationship, because all I know is I'm going to do is just have a really cold beer afterwards.
Well, and I'm sure they'll have one waiting on you.
Yeah, that's the thing. All right, guys, I'm going to pay you, but the last thing is I need at least a six-pack after the finish line. That's minimum, right?
Yeah.
The Brian Pierce cooler. Well, so Dale Spangler wanted me to tell you hi, by the way. He's watching the show, and he's a huge supporter of the show, and he's the guy that really got fly behind seat time to help us out so much. So I definitely have to make sure he gets all the shout-outs he wants on this show. And he wants you to know that he says hi.
Spanky's a good dude. Known him a long time, and certainly admire what he's doing with fly racing.
Yeah, supporting guys like us, right? What?
Yeah.
All right, so I kind of I just wanted to know some more of your thoughts. If you've got any way that you quote unquote wanted to wrap it up, or if there's just maybe some stuff that you wanted to mention that I just didn't preface you on, or maybe you've got another fun story.
Yeah, well, I would say this, that we are pleased to be back with the AMA. They have worked really, really hard. They have a great management team in place, and they want off-road racers back, and they're willing to do whatever it takes. I think they've demonstrated to us we're a pretty hard sell, and so if they were able to sell us back, we hope that the GNCC Nation and all off-road riders would consider coming back and being members of the AMA. If they, a lot of people just stayed with the AMA. You know, they've been with it for so long. The other thing I might say is that we're very excited about our new location in Florida at Burnell. It's right off of the Flagler Beach exit. We're 26 miles from the Daytona Supercross. So those of you that are planning on coming to the GNCC, we are working on a charter bus situation where we can bring GNCC racers right into the speedway. As you know, we do the Daytona Amateur Supercross, the Monster Energy Ricky Carmichael Daytona Supercross, and I've got permission from the speedway where we're going to bring that charter bus around turn 4 and bring it right down the super speedway into the tri-oval and unload the bus. So we're working on those details, so keep that in mind. We're looking forward to GNCC. We're looking forward to Racer TV. You're going to see a lot of new things come out of Racer TV. I think we made some great progress last year, but 2014 is going to be a great year for Racer TV. We have some great new talent on board, some great technicians, a new project manager, and we're excited to bring off-road racing to living rooms and iPads and iPhones and droids around the world. So it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I definitely think that what you guys have done with Racer TV and the ability for the webcast, and then as well all the other forms of racing that you guys are able to show on racertv.com, is a big reason why we're starting to see a little bit more people, I wouldn't even say trickle, but people coming back to, GNCC and off-road racing and a little bit more money in the sport. So, a lot of people kind of think that you guys are trying to monetize for yourselves, and I don't agree with that. I think we can really see. I mean, but you guys. So one, you guys are a business, so it's your own right to make money for sure. But two, I think you guys are doing it for the right reasons and for the sport. I mean, look how fantastic we see now that the Outdoors series is that MX Sports helps run. So I think we're going to see a lot of that happen with the GNCC as well.
I can tell you, Brian, and I hope it's okay if we go over a little bit. But
sure.
I can tell you that there's no money been made in Racer TV yet. There's a tremendous investment. We are very fortunate that Kerry, Coombs, Russell, and Davey, and Rita, and Timmy will invest in the sport because they have a huge investment in Racer TV, and they're just trying to tell the story.
Yeah.
And we realized that, this past year we had a GNCC that had nearly 2,000 entries. Now, you've been to GNCCs before, and 1,200 and 1,300 riders is a lot of riders. 2,000 riders is too many riders almost. So we know that the GNCCs are large, and they're not going to double, and we have to have growth in our company. And how do you get growth? We have to provide different opportunities for growth. And now that goes into our digital platform and Racer TV. And we feel that's where the growth is. There's only so many people that are going to come and race. There's only so many people that can come and watch. And so our growth is in the digital platform where we can bring live entertainment, live racing to the living rooms and iPhones and iPads around the world. So we're not there yet. It's going to take a couple more years as we continue to develop that program, and technology changes daily. So we're very excited about it. We're very proud of that product, and we're very proud of the employees that are behind it. It's really interesting. And if you saw the video from our studios in Morgantown that where we did the AMA announcement, you're going to see more things come out of Morgantown at our headquarters. We've got some really, really good ideas. I think Jen Kenyon and Barry Hawk are working on some ideas of doing a preseason show, and you may see some shows throughout the year. Certainly don't want to take anything away from what you're doing here. Maybe we could add to it. Maybe we could do a little bit of role reversal and have you chime in on our show. So, our plans are unsure right now, but we're going to figure out how to use the asset, and we're going to figure out how to tell the world about GNCC racing and what we're doing. And you mentioned the pro side. We're very thankful that we've now been able to negotiate another 5-year contract for AMA Pro Racing. So MX Sports, as we know it, just finished up its first 5 years. So we're in now to our second 5 years of pro racing. We have a new venue. We're going to the Ironman for a pro motocross.
Yeah.
What a great opportunity that is. That racetrack is going to be unbelievable. I can tell you that this fall, when we were working on the motocross track about the time the GNCC came, and we wanted to bury a tunnel, a shipping container, so that we had a crossover where the GNCC track was crossing over. So one went under and one went over, and we dug 18 feet deep and never found a rock. So the dirt right there is just amazing. It is perfect soil. It's going to be a great home for the Lucas Oil Pro Motocross Championships. And so we're going to see a lot of good things coming out of that series as well. Excited again that all motos are live this year on MAV TV and on NBC and NBC Sports. So you're going to see just as much live programming as we had a year ago. So things are looking pretty good, I think, for off-road motorcycling and motocross. The Loretta Lynn program's about ready to kick off. And I can tell you, in Morgantown, where our home office is and our 25-plus employees, they're like a bunch of stallions in a stall right now, and they can't wait to get out and start running. They're about 4 weeks from gate drop, or 4 weeks from the 10 seconds at GNCC. So it's going to be a good one, and we're looking forward to it.
Sweet. Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned the kind of the pre-show. So Jared Bolton, myself, Jeremy Saylor, and we've actually got Jordan Bailey, an old pro women's racer. She's going to be on the couch with us again, so we're going to kind of do one. So yeah, we should definitely check on times when we're going to be doing that, and it may just be more beneficial for all of us to figure out a way to make it happen together in just a racer production seat time conglomeration of awesomeness.
What do you call that? A pint of awesome?
A pint full of awesome. Yep.
A pint full of awesome.
It doesn't have to be beer. It's just as long as you're having a good time. That's what we call a pint full of awesome.
Hey, I have a pint full of West Virginia water. Now, who wouldn't want that?
Yeah, I've got well, we're not going to talk about what's in my Camelback water bottle. Well, cool. Well, Mr. Tim Cotter, it's been a great time talking to you. It's been a long time since we've had a chance to talk, unfortunately. So I'm glad that we did it. Please feel free. I know that we talked a little bit about this when we were on the phone. This is definitely an avenue and a venue to talk to viewers, to talk to racers, to talk to riders, and enthusiasts of all things off-road. So feel free to let us know whenever you've got something to share, and we're always going to come to you when I feel like you've got more to say than just one little press release, okay?
Well, Brian, it's my pleasure. Reach out to us anytime. I encourage you to get Barry Hawk on the show. And I'm sure he would be a great guest on your show as well. And I'm sure he has some stories that he can tell from back in the day. We're very fortunate to have Barry with us, and Jeff Russell, and of course, Caleb. I'm sure you've had Caleb on the show.
Oh yes.
There's some great characters out there in GNCC land. You ought to talk to Joel Creed someday.
Joel Creed.
Joel Creed is part of our track crew, races GNCC as well, and I think he's a national champion downhill mountain biker.
Oh.
And he's out of Indiana, but he would be a good guest for your show as well.
Sweet. Yeah, I actually, it's funny because with Snowshoe, with you guys going to Snowshoe, I've been to Snowshoe 2 or 3 times for downhill mountain bike racing, something that I used to do like right when I got out of college.
I love snowshoe. That's
I want to go race a dirt bike there so bad.
I'm not supposed to have favorites, but I can't lie. Snowshoes is absolutely one of the favorites. You know, when we grew out of the Wisp, I wanted to find that perfect racetrack, that perfect facility, and I went to Snowshoe and I pitched them, and the president of Snowshoe sat in the room and he said, "Now wait a minute." He said, "Let me get this straight." He said, "You want to come to my mountain?" "Yeah, I do." "You want to bring 5,000 people to my mountain?" "Yeah, I do."
Yeah.
"You want to let them unload their dirt bikes?" "Yeah, I do." "You want to let them ride all over my mountain?" "Yeah, I do." "Even if it rains?" "Yeah, that's right." "Are you effing crazy?" And but we showed them all of the the videos and the pictures, and they came to a few races, and they were a hard sell. But we're very proud that Snowshoe always welcomes us back. Our GNCC families are very respectful of that mountain, and it is the toughest race in America, no doubt.
Heck yeah. Well, I'm going to try to make it there. I'm definitely going to go back for sure, but I want to race there again. So now that there's all these arrive and ride and ready to race programs, this might just be my year. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Come on out.
Cool. Well, Tim, thank you very much. I hope we're not keeping you up past your bedtime since you're East Coast.
I'm in good shape.
Good. I dig it. Well, thank you very much again for being on the show, and we'll talk soon. All right, buddy?
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Take it easy. All right, so as we switch over to our third guest for the easy, Mr. Cory Graffunder, who is probably going to be very soon sponsored by J-B Weld, I would like to say thank you for one of our other fantastic sponsors of Seat Time, Powersport Graphics. So, if you like saving money, and if you like having a bitchin'-looking motorcycle, UTV, 4x4, truck, stickers on your notebook, you want to talk to Ride PG. Powersport Graphics. It's ridepg.com is the website. And you can use a discount code is Seat Time. Unfortunately, it's one word. Everywhere else, you want Seat Time to be two words. But here, it's one word. Now, you could call Bolt on and be like, "Oh my gosh, Jared, I was listening on Seat Time and they said something about a discount code." He's going to be like, "Stop talking. I will give it to you. You do not need to know it." Because he will already know that you're a perfect, fantastic person for listening to the show, that you even mentioned it and asked for him by name. That, and he doesn't have very many friends. So we want to make sure that he, has more friends. Apparently, he had a girlfriend for a little while. We don't know how long that lasted. She probably saw him naked, freaked out, and just walked out. Maybe she turned the lights off and just felt sorry for him. However it went down, Jared needs more friends. Call him at RidePG. Tell him you want a bitchin'-looking motorcycle. You want the Seat Time logo put on it as well, because they do have that in stock, and that way you can ride around with your own pint full of awesome. RidePG.com, fantastic supporter of Seat Time. Use the discount code Seat Time to save yourself some money and keep things looking awesome, right? Dig it. Cool, thanks to those guys. So, my wonderful wife is going to pull up Cory Graffunder so that we can... Oh, Cory Graffunder, that little guy. He's going to call him and get him into the show. He's texting me while I'm texting him, and he's watching the show while I'm texting him and calling me out for all kinds of fun stuff. So, Cory, are you still trying to watch the show while you're waiting for your chance to be on the show?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm glad you're watching. I mean, that's like two people tonight. Because technically I'm watching it and you are, so that's good, right? That sounds horrible. You there? You hate me, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Oh my gosh, I was so worried. So worried, dude. I was like, oh my God, he already fell asleep. Shit. There's only one of us. All right. You know what? You didn't win King of the Motos this weekend. But you know what you did win? You won a huge-ass place in my heart because you... Holy shit, the picture of your bike using the J-B Weld to put that fucker back together... That is, I want to give you so much free crap that I just don't have because I don't have kind of access to free crap. But, dude, you're the guy I want to talk to because you finished that shit with a rock JB welded into your engine. So, was King of the Motos hard?
Yeah, it was definitely the hardest one I've done so far. I really haven't had very good luck there at all in the past. I've done it all 3 times they've had it, and this is the first time I've actually finished. So, when I was only like 2.5 miles from the finish when that when I had the bike problems, and I was devastated. There was nothing hard left. It was just dry lake bed and some sand whoops and one little downhill, and I'm sitting there in the middle of the whoops, staring at all the oil all over my leg and the side of the bike, going, 3 times in a row, this can't be. So I, had my bum bag with me, and I opened that up and saw what I had in there, and got her back running again.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so talk us through a little bit about what actually happened. I mean, to get to a place where you busted open the side of the head on your engine, and you've got oil leaking all over the place. I'm not sure how familiar you are with the Sherco motor, but it looks very similar to like a Yamaha, where it has between the valve cover and the head, there's like that half moon shaped valve cover gasket, I guess. I've actually already raced the 300. That's how I'm extremely familiar with the fact it doesn't have a kickstand, and it's the scariest shit ever when you don't actually know it doesn't have a kickstand and you think it falls off.
Mine had a kickstand, so I was lucky.
Oh, I mean Kickstarter. Sorry, Kickstarter.
Oh, the Kickstarter. Yeah.
That was scary as shit. But yeah, okay, continue on with your story because I know it's better than mine.
So anyway, that am I still on?
Oh yeah.
So that piece, that rubber piece on the side of the motor, it just fell out. I don't really know how or why. The only thing I can come up with is the section before that was a long, nasty uphill, and going slow, and the bike had overheated, so it was definitely hot, and I think it might have just melted it or melted the silicone that was holding it in, or I'm not really sure what happened, but
you're a racer, you're not a mechanic.
As soon as I got on the lake bed, I obviously didn't notice it at first, but rode it until there was almost no oil left in the motor, and that's when I realized that there's a problem.
Did it make noises, or were you just like, why does my leg feel wet with ooze?
Yeah, I was wide open in the sand, and it was starting to blow up. It was going wide open, and it was starting to slow down. So I recognized that right away, and shut it off before it could fully seize. And
wow.
It once I did get it going again, it still wouldn't even start. I had to bump start it. So I think there's a little bit of damage inside that motor.
Just a skosh. Holy crap. Okay, so now we know that, unbeknownst to you, you have put a hole or lost that rubber casing housing bit on the side of the engine. You're wide open. Whoa! Oh my God, I'm going to blow up my engine. So now you're in the desert. You're 2.5 miles from the finish. What goes through your mind to make you go, ooh, I can JB Weld a rock into my engine?
Well, I started with duct tape. Obviously, the bike was a little too hot to put duct tape on it because
it's melting.
It melted immediately.
I love it.
So then I thought, well, maybe I'll just wait for it to cool off. The wind was blowing, and it was pretty cold out, so maybe it'll cool off enough.
Did you not pee on it? You should have peed on it.
I didn't pee on it. I probably should have peed in the radiator because there wasn't much coolant in the bike either.
That's true. This is probably none.
So, I don't know. I had duct tape, I had safety wire, I had a rag with me. I'm kind of looking at all of this stuff going, how do I do it? And my first thought was to make a little JB Weld patch on the fender and then let that harden and then break it off, put that over the hole, and then use more JB Weld to secure that in there.
Oh, yeah.
But then I found a rock that was perfect, so that was a lot easier.
So, were you just kind of like, okay, I've got a hole, and you say this rock is yay big to fit in holes, so you put it in there and then just use JB Weld just enough to kind of keep it, I guess, in the hole?
Yeah, it's obviously the whole thing was covered in oil, so the JB Weld didn't stick very good.
Right. Yeah.
I wiped it off with a rag and then spit on the rag and wiped it off more. I didn't know what to do, so the JB Weld didn't really stick very good the first time, and when I did get it running, oil was still pouring out, the bottom part of it.
Right.
So I stopped, regrouped, had to do the whole thing over again, and this time used all of the rest of the JB Weld that I had. And it still leaked, but it, I guess, was enough to get to the finish.
Yeah, well, apparently it got you to the finish. That is insane. So, immediate reactions from people at the finish that saw what you had done to that bike to get to the finish line? What were some people's immediate reactions?
They just couldn't believe it. That I actually went right up on the podium as soon as I crossed the finish line, and Dave was interviewing me, and he's kind of looking at me like what's going on? Why were you so far back? And because I finished like 16th or something, like an hour behind everyone else. So I'm like pointing at the side of the bike, and he's like, "Holy, what is going on there?" And so I ended up ripping the chunk of rock JB Weld off of there, and was showing them, and we were showing the cameras, and pumping it up. I guess it's not really the coolest thing to have happen, but like you said, resourcefulness got me to the finish. Finished my first King of the Motos.
I think that's one heck of a way to do it. I know that I would have way more issues than that. I used to always keep JB Weld in what you call your bum bag. I guess I call it my butt pack. So, you're from the north, I'm from the south, so I guess that's where the difference in the bum versus butt.
Well, you've got a fanny and I've got a bum, I guess.
Yes. Fanny pack. I don't think either of those sound anywhere near manly whatsoever.
It's a tool pouch.
Yeah. Oh, dude, we don't say pouch. It can't be a pouch. That sounds like front
satchel?
fat. Fanny, no. What was the first word you used? You said something pouch? Tool. I always call it a tool belt.
Yeah, there you go. Tool belt.
Because it's funny. So I'll go out and practice at some of our local cross-country races on Saturday when they have open practice. And I always throw my tool belt on. I grew up an enduro racer. You always have tools. And you always keep your best tools in there because you need to be able to fix your shit if it breaks. I can't tell you how many times I've saved little cross-country racers' lives. Well, maybe just their bikes. But still, out in the woods because they don't ever carry any tools. They're like, what, dude? I'm like, holy shit, dude. How did you expect to get, you're 5 miles from anywhere. What's the deal? I'm like, you're an idiot. So yes, tool belts. I think they're awesome, and apparently Cory Graffunder is going to be the first pro motocrosser sponsored by JB Weld.
Hey, if they want, I'm looking.
Have you not sent them any of this yet? Have you not reached out and told them what you did?
No, I haven't done anything with it.
I'm going to tell you right now, you're being a very bad marketer of yourself as a professional looking for sponsors. You need to get your shit together. They would jump all over this. You've got to be, dude, seriously. Get the pictures together, make a little presentation, exactly what you just told me, but in a written form, and send that shit to JB Weld. And if they don't like it, find their actual marketing department because they need to be all over that shit. Because the Loctite guys are all over snowmobiling. And JB Weld, we all carry that quick JB Weld shit in our butt packs and in our tool belts and stuff. Why aren't they a sponsor of this kind of stuff? You know what I mean? We need outside the industry sponsors. They got mo money.
I'll send them the link to this.
Hey,
That'll get them pumped up.
We'll have to give them the exact time frame to come in because if not, they're going to be like, what the fuck is up with this guy?
I don't want anything to do with these people.
The guy's got a crappy mustache. He looks like a hippie. And then the guy that wants us to sponsor him. Yeah, let's check this guy out. He's got like musical notes on his shirt. What's going on here? I don't really know. It just looks like music for some reason on your shirt from my angle.
It's FMF.
Oh, there it is. Okay, now I can see. Lift it up a little bit more. Oh, yeah, okay. There we go. That makes much more sense. Yep.
Yeah, it's FMF. It's fancy, but it still says it.
Where are you right now? There's a train in the background.
Oh, yeah. That's at my house. You can hear the trains. I'll tell them to be quiet.
Is this like the movie My Cousin Vinny? Like, what's going on right now? Like, oh, my God. You tried to tell them, but they did not listen.
Yeah, they're stubborn.
That's okay. It's okay. So, dude, you're on a Sherco. You were on, I guess, what we can call an old Husky now. I don't really know what to call it. You were on a red and white and black Husky, and, you're not anymore. So you're on a Sherco. So what's going on with you? I mean, obviously, things are different. What's your 2014 plan looking like?
Yeah, things didn't move forward with Sherco or with Husqvarna this year. So I've kind of been searching for a ride for the 2014 Endurocross season, and kind of landed with Sherco. I'm actually working with a Dirtworks Brady Allard and Jason Kaber, and they're trying to put a team together with me and Kyle Redmond, and things are looking really good with Sherco stepping in and being the bike sponsor, and us being the factory off-road Sherco team. So it's definitely still in the early stages, but things are looking up, and the bikes are good. The bike I rode is actually a 2013, so from what I hear, the 14 is just supposed to be that much better, and I can't wait to get on one and start putting some time on it.
Yeah, I actually met with Clay Stuckey at the National Enduro in Oklahoma City this past year. It was around October is when we did the live show there from the National Enduro. And I loved that bike. He let me race it. Him and his son Zach let me race it on that Sunday. And I had pre-ridden it a little bit on Saturday, played with the clickers a little bit, put my Fast Company flex bars on there, and I rode the shit out of that bike on Sunday during the race, and I really enjoyed it. It was really fun to be on a four-stroke again, especially that mid-power four-stroke. Or I say mid-power as in that kind of that middle ground CC. I hadn't ridden one of those before, and having just also test ridden the 350 of the KTM, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun. The bike's really cool. It was flickable. It was easy to ride. Yeah, I was really impressed. Have you guys had a chance to ride any of the two-strokes that they've got?
No, I haven't. I haven't even really seen one lately, but I'm definitely interested in them. They make a really quality motorcycle. I've had this four-stroke 300 for a couple weeks now, and had it apart, getting it ready for the King of the Motos, and it kind of reminds me a lot of a KTM. A lot of the parts seem very KTM-ish, and I really want to get on that two-stroke too, especially during the race. Following. Pretty much everyone else is on a two-stroke, I guess, besides Colton. But following them around on two-strokes, they're just the better bike for an extreme enduro. They're light. They have the power to light it up and get up that rock when you really need to. Yeah.
I am on a 300 right now, and I kind of wish I had been on a 250. When we did the Vegas Endurocross, but in reality, I mean that's a want, not a need. What I needed was some actual skill. That was the unfortunate thing about my Vegas Endurocross experience, and I definitely use quotes because it ended with me at the bar, and ended as in like during my second practice. So I didn't make it very far. So I definitely don't think a 250 XC would have made much of a difference over a 300 XC on my part, but. I can always just keep telling myself it would. I feel better about myself doing that. I do. That shit was tough.
I'm really torn, as to what bike's the best for Endurocross now. When I first got into it, everybody was on two strokes. And then over the last, 3-4 years, it seemed to evolve into four strokes, that everyone started riding 254 strokes and then started boring them out and making big bikes out of them. And then, KTM came out with the 350, and even this last year, a couple people were riding 450s. So, it's kind of seeming like it's going in that direction. But then you look at Cody Webb and, Kyle, they're out there on two strokes and they're going really fast too. So I really don't know. I think the answer is going to be to get both bikes and 300 two-stroke, 300 four-stroke, and just go to town on them, set them both up, for Endurocross, and see which one goes faster.
Yeah. Yep. I think you're right. It'd be neat for you guys if you get that chance. You see a lot of guys like a lot of the KTM riders. They get that chance. They get a chance to go out to a test track, play around all the different bikes, and they're kind of like, okay, this is going to be my race bike. This is the bike that I want to race on. And if you guys get that same opportunity with Sherco, I think that's going to be fantastic for you guys to be able to have that chance to make a choice and for them, to work with you guys in that regard. What did you think about the WP suspension? Did you have much of a chance to work with it on the Sherco, or did you just kind of like run what you brung kind of a situation?
Well, when I first got it, it's an off-road bike, and so it was definitely sprung for, the average off-road guy, which is way lighter than me, so it was way too soft for me when I got it. So I rode it one day just to get a feel for it and realized that it needed to be sprung for my weight. So I took it out to Stillwell. I'm sure you guys know Stillwell Performance.
Oh yeah, big supporter of Seat Time and the suspension on my bike as well.
Yeah, he does a great job. So I just headed out to his house, and he's always welcomed me with open arms, and he just moved into a new shop and a new house and everything. So went and stayed with him for a couple of days, and he's still getting over his back injury, so he was a little bit limited on what he could do with testing. He wasn't able to come out into the desert and really watch me ride, but he did all the work for me, and I went and rode and tested, and we got as close to what I thought we needed in the 2 days that I was there. So yeah, that's what I ran.
Wicked.
It's definitely a lot different than the Husky that was Kayaba front and rear on that. So it's a different bike, and it's a different suspension feel, front and rear. You can't even really compare.
It's interesting to know that, because I've been on KTM's for so long now that I'm kind of used to I guess making the adjustments. It was weird going from a 2009 250 XC to the 2013 300 XC because of the fact that they added the linkage. That took a little bit to get used to. It definitely felt like more couch-esque, which I didn't feel that on the Sherco 300 when I rode it. The 300 two-stroke that I rode, the front end just felt funny, and it was definitely a prototype. It was not a production, or it was a pre-production. So be prototype or just more changes to come. So it'll be interesting to see what you think once you get one of your hands on. Get your hands on one of the new 300 two-stroke production models. Kind of see if they've got a little bit of those kinks worked out. But you'll have to tell me what the cockpit feels like on that bike. And yes, I just used the word cockpit.
Yeah, I don't know if how much different the two-stroke is going to be than the four-stroke as far as ergonomics and stuff go. But I was able to jump on the four-stroke, and I put some flex bars on it. It was the first thing I did, and
as you should.
I felt right at home. It didn't have any hang-ups with the plastics or anything like that bothered me, and the foot peg to handlebar relationship felt really good, and it actually felt like a bigger cockpit. I felt cockpit.
Hey-o.
A little bit like a trials bike, I guess, in the sense that it's made for a bigger rider. So I felt
you're
really
a bigger
comfortable.
dude, so that probably was nice.
Yeah, I felt really comfortable on it right away. I tweaked the bars around a little bit and played with the bar position. They have 4 different bar positions that you can flip the bar mounts around in 2 different holes. So played around with that a little bit until I figured out where I liked it and ran it right there.
It's always good when you got different hole choices to put it in, isn't it?
Oh, you're trying to set me up, trying to get me in trouble.
Oh, I'm setting it up. I'm setting it up good, buddy. Yeah! All flexible. You can grab it as much as you want. Tim, are you blowing your nose on your shirt?
Yes.
Oh, my God. My wife is disgusting. This is what I have to deal with. This is why I'm just so unprofessional. Oh, my God. This show is going to shit because of you, woman. I'm just kidding. I love you, wife. Yeah, so Corey, I've kind of told everybody else, but my wife is filling in tonight as producer because my buddy who produces had some family emergency he had to deal with. So she's just getting the full brunt force of how awesome I am.
I could tell you were on your own. You were texting me while you were on that last interview.
No, you have no idea how stressful this job is. Everybody thinks that I have such a great time. Oh, I do. I love doing this. But it's funny because I have the chat room open, I have my notes open, and I have my messenger window open. So my wife was actually the one texting you, but it was when it was running a little longer, I'm the one that was in messenger. Like, I got a lot of stuff going on my screen. It's pretty intense, and I've got all my questions open in Facebook Messenger from our friend Zach Huberty from Innovation Off Road with his little questions for everybody. I'm telling you, man, it's not as easy as it looks. I mean, it's not as easy. It's easier than being a professional dirt bike racer, but
we don't feel sorry for you.
I can be out of shape and do this though. I just got to be mentally strong. I think it's working. What do you think? Am I doing it? I don't know what it is, but am I doing it? having way too much fun right now. I apologize. All right, King of the Motos, you kicked ass because you finished on a JB Welded motorcycle, which is fantastic. So third time doing that event. How much has it changed? Do you still enjoy doing it? Is it something that do you see that race continuing? Do you see yourself continuing to do it if it does so continue?
Yeah, it's a really cool race in the fact that it's been evolving every year. The first year I didn't actually get to ride the whole course, so I don't really know a lot about what it was. But from what I heard from the other riders, anyway, the second year it got harder. It was quite a bit longer, and then now the third year, it's definitely been harder again. They changed the format up this year with a qualifier on Saturday. Just a short. I think it was like a 3 or 4 minute loop, and then the 2-moto format on Sunday, with the easier, faster race in the morning and then more difficult race in the afternoon. So it was really fun. The bike setup changed from the morning to the afternoon. We changed tires and gearing and stuff to for the different terrain.
Right.
But we use a lot of the same canyons every year, the same ones that the trucks use, and they're always changing because the trucks are racing on them every year, and they do a lot of rock moving out there. And then this year we had this brand new downhill canyon that was really nasty. We got to go ride it on Friday, and I think we were some of the first bikes through it, so there wasn't even really a line, and we were kind of picking our way down the hill. I went the wrong way, and then all of a sudden Caleb Russell's cartwheeling down behind me, and Taylor's up on the side of the mountain like a little billy goat riding across the rocks. And it was fun, but it's a little bit different when you get there in the race scenario, I guess.
Yeah, and you're quote-unquote trying to go as fast as possible.
Exactly, yeah. You're in first gear going half a mile an hour, but you're still...
I'm racing! I'm racing!
Heart rate's 200, and you're sweating, and you got arm pump.
Oh, and a fanny a bum bag. What'd you call it? A bum bag?
Yeah, bum bag, camelback.
Bum bag. Bag.
It was funny, actually, coming down that canyon. I stalled the bike at one point, and you're in the middle.
Probably
of
because it was overheating at this point, and you just didn't know it yet.
But we're in the middle of nowhere, miles from anything, and I hear this like buzzing noise, like bzzz, and I'm like, what the heck is that? And I look up, and there's a quadcopter with a GoPro about 10 feet over my head. I'm like, oh my god, is that a drone or something?
The terrorists! The Germans! The Germans! Oh, well, that's okay. I'm actually one of the guys that would have done that to you. I do have one of those little aerial phantoms with a GoPro on it, and it's fun as shit to scare people. What's really funny is in those situations, like when I'm the guy flying it around, and we're right in front of some kind of race line that I'm filming or whatever, over half of the people in that turn or at that point are looking at the copter and not at the actual racing that's going on. I'm like, guys, there's racing. Like, this is way more interesting than my copter in the air. It's so weird. So all the footage I have to zoom in a lot because all I get is a bunch of people's faces around the racers that are going. In your case, it was a bunch of rocks around you.
Yeah, it was pretty desolate out there.
Oh my gosh. So what's next? What is coming up for the future of Mr. Cory from the Thunder Down Under Graffunder?
The next race for me, I guess, is going to be Endurocross race in Mesquite. I've never done that one before, so I don't really know what to expect, but it's, I guess, from what I hear about it, it's geared around, freestyle and dirt bikes, endurocross, UTVs, quads, kind of all of it combined into one crazy weekend of racing. I think Kenny Bartram's always there, and sounds like a fun event. So that's coming up later in February for me, and then after that, it's just going to be wide open, getting ready for endurocross.
Bitchin'. Very cool. Well, definitely keep us updated as you find out more about this Sherco deal and the Sherco team that you guys are putting together. I also am trying to tell all the Endurocross racers that Austin, Texas, so for X Games this year, I live just north. When I say just north, it's about 3.5 hours. But I will be there for X Games, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to do some kind of live seat time event, be it before the racing, after the racing, or if we were just to say F it, and after y'all's race is over some night, essentially take over a club, where they get some bitchin' live music, lots of cool things, some hippie stuff going on because it's Austin. So, definitely as you guys as Endurocross athletes learn about your schedule for, X Games coming up for Enduro X, let me know so then that way I can schedule our shenanigans around y'all's shenanigans, and it'll be just shenanigans of awesomeness.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not even sure which day we're racing on yet. Last year we kind of raced on a different day at every one, so could be Thursday through Sunday. But
I want to say that your final is 4:00 on Friday.
Oh, well, you know more than me then.
And I think the only reason I know that is because I already had to shell out a shit ton of money to buy tickets for my daughter and I to go.
Well, that's perfect then, because then we got all weekend to hang out and watch other events and, do whatever you got going on.
Hey, yes, you do. I'm glad I've already sold you on the idea. I'll be looking for you as a co-host. And
yeah,
what you'll need to do is
you'll have some live mics.
Oh yeah, buddy, dude, we're gonna have like so many mics, it's gonna hurt. You're gonna have to work on. Well, no, you don't want me rapping or musically inclined by any vocally. No, it just needs to stay with a. It's the gift of gab, bro. I don't sing, okay. But we're gonna need you to work on your mustache. I see you got the beard and the facial hair going on, but just less chin strap and a little bit more flavor saver, okay?
You're about a month late because I think about.
That's definitely what she said. Ah, shit!
From Vegas Endurocross, I never shaved for about 2 months. So I went back up to Canada for Christmas and New Year's, and I had to keep the face warm. So I had a pretty thick red beard, and then just for fun, shaved it into a big mustache as it was all coming off. But I'm kind of well on my way now. So by the time Austin rolls around, I could have a pretty good mustache. Maybe we could have a little competition.
Oh, dude, there's no competition. There's just don't. Well, the problem is if we go to Austin and try to have a mustache competition, there's so many like little what do they call them now? They're what are the yippie? No, crap, yuppies. So yuppie hippies. They call them yippies. Yippies. So there's yuppie hippies down there that try to be hipsters. It's the most. If you've never been to Austin, I promise you will have a good time, but you will be so confused when you look at some of the people down there. It's its own little cult thing. It's strange. It's very interesting. People watching is fantastic though, because there are some characters. But yeah, the whole mustache thing, we won't be able to beat anybody. They got some crazy ass facial hair artists down there.
We'll have to pick another event to do it at then.
Okay, I could do a butt hair competition.
I might be able to rally you on that one too.
I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, this is gonna get weird. We're going there, buddies. It's going there. All right. Well, Mr. Cory Graffunder, I know it sounds like you guys are still putting a lot together right now, but I'm pretty sure you've got some guys that have stayed behind you and stayed with you into the year. So please go ahead and let us know who's got you to where you're at right now, so that we can let my wife go to sleep.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that have been behind me over the last couple of years, like Troy Lee Designs and FMF, Stillwell Performance, Recluse, Fast Company, CD Boots, Dirt Tricks, GPR, Amy Grips, Hyde, TM Designs, ARC Levers, 509 Goggles, USWE, and Kenda just stepped up and is going to help us out this year, and Sherco for sure.
Bitchin'.
And if there's anyone else out there that's interested in getting involved in our program, definitely hit me up. So,
Cory the Thunder from Down Under Graffunder. Didn't you say that you were called Thunder? Didn't you have a Thunder nickname or something like that?
Yeah, I've had all sorts of nicknames. Some of them I probably don't even want to tell you, but
Nah, because I'll just remember them later at night when we're at a bar somewhere.
I guess my first big one was just Graffunder Thunder.
So have you ever thought about taking that to like Vegas and trying to get to that Thunder from Down Under show, like where the male strippers?
I I'm not sure I have the pectorals to get in there.
Ah, man. I don't know. We're going to have to work on our shirtless routine then, I guess, huh?
Definitely going to have to take care of that butt hair.
Unfortunately, you're probably right. I think what we should do is we should really put together some kind of look that we want to go for when we go to Austin, and we'll start now. And if pecs are one of them, then I guess we're just gonna have to do push-ups or something. But we'll figure it out. We'll make ourselves look pretty.
You know, the off-road crowd is a pretty good group of guys. So I think we should get a few more guys going on this too.
Oh, I'm pretty sure you know a couple people that I don't, and actually, you probably just know everybody. So I'm just gonna make sure you tell them.
All right. Well, we'll figure it out, and then I'll spread the word.
Yes, dig it. I like it when people get on board with stuff that I come up with. That's crazy. Woohoo! All right. Well, we really appreciate you being on the show, Cory. You're always fun, and it's just a good time. So I'm sorry that you broke your motorcycle, but I'm glad that you fixed it in such a fantastic way. I promise you, get that shit together, send it to J-B Weld. They have to jump on board with that. Have to. It would be stupid not to. So
yeah, I'll get on it. You know, it was a kind of a crap race, I guess, with the result, but you know, it made a great story, so something good came out of it.
Hell yeah. Seatime had a good time with that one, buddy, and I hope that everybody out there enjoyed it. Well, dude, have fun on the West Coast. Don't do anything I wouldn't, and if you do, take pictures, all right?
For sure.
All right, dude, take it easy.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
All right, so we've had 3 fantastic guests this evening. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but we have started to broadcast a little bit longer. It's not on purpose. It's just that there really are, as we're leading up to the series starting and we don't have a ton of talk to the racers action, there is a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff going on that I do want to know more about, and I know you guys would be interested to know more about. We talked to Shane Watts about his Ready to Race program. We are going to have Jeff Andrews on to talk about the KR4 Arrive and Ride program. Just things like that. So if there's any kind of programs or more news that you guys want us to find out about before we get into like race season, please, you can email us, talk to us on Facebook, all that kinds of fun stuff. So we really appreciate you guys coming and watching the show tonight. If you haven't tuned in live, remember, you can always catch us on YouTube. We're going to be on Stitcher and iTunes as well. Great ways for you to subscribe to the show to watch and or listen after the fact if you'd like to catch up. Remember, this is Seat Time. You can find us on our website, which is seattime.co. We are on Facebook, facebook.com/seattime. Twitter is twitter.com/seattime. _CO, like to change it up on you. Instagram is just regular old Seat Time, one word. And dude, we're just all over the place. You just find us, love us, like us, and just have a good time. And we really, really appreciate you guys being here. We have talked to a lot of people, with Tim Cotter, Johnny Campbell. Of course, we just finished up with Cory Thunder Graffunder. Just having a good time. Yeah, Tam, did you have fun?
I had a blast.
Yes, we cannot do this without thanking my wife. My wife, obviously, a big trooper. She puts up with all of my shenanigans. You guys watch and you guys giggle and laugh. You get this only on Tuesdays. She has to put up with this crap every day, and now she's producing the show, so we have to thank her. Big thanks to my wife, Tamara, for doing this for us, and for you guys. Wouldn't be here without her, so definitely big thanks. Remember, we'll be live next Tuesday. I got some good guests coming up, and we'll put the PR out Tuesday morning to let y'all know. Up until then, remember to enjoy a pint full of awesome, and thanks for watching Seat Time. Peace.